This is Movers and Shakers, where we interview the upcoming generation of Make It Happen multifamily investors to share their story.
Welcome to the Movers and Shakers podcast. My name is Gino Barbaro, co-founder of Jake Gino, multifamily investor, educator, father, mentor, and I'm joined by my co-host. Sometimes it feels like he's my son, my brosif, Josh Rusin, the community director of Jake Gino. Joshua, how are you today?
Gino, doing well, and I'll take that as a compliment. To be a part of your family would be an honor. Although I almost lived with you for 9 months, definitely I got to take that there. You know, excited. We're coming off 2 days of Petra coaching and implementing the Rockefeller habits in our business and scaling up. Really putting our money where our mouth is and investing in coaching ourselves and learning, right? Success leaves clues and reaching up. And that's what we help people do. And that's what excites me as well, becoming the best version of ourselves, the best company we can be, and serving others at the highest level. Gino, what about you?
Well, there's a couple lessons to that. The first lesson is we are not as focusing as much. We're working on Q1 priorities. And the reason why I say Josh is like my son is I tell him to put away the cell phone and he's like, yep, I got it upside down to the side, but that's not really focusing, right? We need to learn how to focus and how to grow the company. So everyone out there, I think the first thing everyone needs to think of is as we're coming towards the end of the year, what are your priorities going into your first quarter? And then as you have first quarter priorities, what are your priorities going into the second quarter? And we all get caught into the shiny object syndrome, right? Let's stay in our lane. And today we're going to be talking about multifamily and the multifamily lane. When you're talking about growing a business, whether it's the multifamily business or any other business, really start trying to focus on priorities and get those done.
Love it. Absolutely right. And actually, what I'm really excited about is today's guest. Today, we have our own internal team member, Jennifer Ullrich. Jennifer is a certified meeting planner who's been spending the last 10 years working in financial services. Now, after she attended our first live event in 2017, she understood and saw how multifamily real estate and cash flow leads to financial freedom. She then joined the Jake and Gino team in 2019, really helping focus on the community and their events and taking things to the next level. Since joining, she actually just closed on her first 8-unit deal recently. Welcome to the show, Jen.
Thanks, guys. Thanks so much for having me.
All right, Jen, so here's what I'm curious on. 2017, I didn't know these guys existed. I didn't know apartment buildings were something people bought. Tell me about this. What your thoughts were when your friend told you, what got you over the hump to go to the event, and then how that event really changed you and opened your eyes.
Well, I was doing single-family homes to start, and I was buying one home at a time, and I figured that it was going to take me a long time to reach financial freedom. So when my friend approached me about multifamily, and so she started listening to the Jake and Gino podcast, it really opened my eyes to go to the event and see what it was all about. So after attending, I learned about economies of scale and depreciation and cost segregation, and it really opened my eyes to I can get this done a lot faster if I go the route of multifamily.
So Josh, Jen, picture this. 2017, Jake and I are coming off stage, 150 people, small event, and Jennifer comes up to me and goes, you need help next year with the event? I looked at Jake, I said, I need all the help I can get. I said, sure, let's do that, right? And it's one of those things where, seek to serve. And Jennifer helped us with the 2018 event, and it went off really, really well. There's a lot of things you don't know. I mean, it's just like everything else in life. Just need to commit and then figure it out, and then the next year will take care of itself. So do you remember that moment when you saw us up on stage and you said, wow, these guys could do a lot better?
Absolutely. I knew I had a service I could provide you guys, and I wanted to learn from you. So I was a match.
So what did you learn on that in the first, even last year's event in 2018? What were the things that stuck out to multifamily that you can share with the community?
The ability for cost segregation, how you can get all that value up front, that was a huge eye-opener because I just had a single-family home and a duplex. Like, I wasn't getting that much value.
Mm-hmm.
So that, and be able to have one roof, right, for multiple apartments. When I had a single-family home, I had one roof and one vacancy. That was 100% vacancy. So the ability to scale it up much faster was the key for me.
So what has changed over your life in the last 2 years? You say, what was the biggest changes you've seen?
Oh, biggest changes in multifamily or just in my life in general?
In everything, because it's not just multifamily, it's mind shift. It's, people telling you you're crazy and,
It's surrounding myself with the right people, to be honest with you. I made the move from New Jersey to here to work with the Jake and Gino team. And it's really, the last 6 months have been eye-opening for me.
So describe eye-opening, because right now I'm eye-opening. I'm looking at Josh. Josh is looking good. He's eye-opening to me right now. So what is eye-opening to you? What does that mean? Let's dive deeper into that, because I'm sure that people told you that you're crazy. What do you mean, Knoxville, multifamily, the whole thing. We've heard it time and time again. So there's a couple of questions to that. The first thing is, what was really eye-opening? And the second thing was, how did you not get sucked back in? As they say in The Godfather 2, I tried to get out, but they pulled me back in. How did you avoid that? That's really important for students, because when they start on, they have a lot of motivation, a lot of energy going through, and after 3 months, they fall back into their old habits because they didn't surround themselves in a community, and they didn't, continue on with their dreams.
So I was comfortable, right? I had a nice 6-figure paying job. I was working in downtown Manhattan. I was pretty comfortable. And then actually Jake, when I started working with you guys in 2018, Jake started pushing me outside my comfort zone, and I liked it. I liked working with you guys, and I liked being surrounded by like-minded individuals. And where I was in my life, I really wasn't going outside my comfort zone very often. And just working with you guys and moving down here, I've been pushed outside my comfort zone so many times, even by just joining Toastmasters here. I never thought about public speaking. Having you guys push me and getting me up to present, it's been really working for me, and it's been an eye-opening experience, just that alone.
So you said comfortable, but how do you get out of the comfort zone? Because a lot of people are stuck there. So what prompted you to want to do that?
Everyone here, just surrounding myself with like-minded individuals and people challenging me here to get outside of my comfort zone has been the key for me. Just having accountability and people holding my feet to the fire here has taken me to the next level.
So let's dive into that though. How did you get down there? So for you to get down there, you were comfortable in your 6-figure job up in New Jersey. What did you say to yourself? Because for me, I'll give you an example. I was pretty comfortable at the restaurant. I just got to the point in my life, the age of my life, where I'm like, this is not for me anymore. I don't want to do this. And I was still not uncomfortable. I just started hating my situation, my surroundings. So I'm trying to get people to understand like what motivated you to leave. So maybe they can say, hey, I share some commonality with that. This is what I need to do.
So I found that being home, I wasn't opening myself up, right? I wasn't having the people in my life that challenged me to think outside the box and to go for that 8 unit, right? I had my single family home and I was comfortable. And then when I got down here, I figured that I had the resources available and the community behind me to take that leap and do an 8 unit and manage it myself. So just being surrounded by the right people has allowed me to do that.
I think you bring up a really valuable point there about the company you keep. When I first decided I wanted to do real estate, I felt like my parents were looking at me like I had a third eye, and I was waiting for them to ask where I parked my spaceship. So it's like, that's risky. Josh, what are you doing? Save your way to wealth. And then what I learned is, although they did the best that they could with what they had, and I don't fault them for that, the results they had weren't what I wanted. But when I started surrounding myself with those that had the results that I wanted, not only did I realize it was possible, but I was encouraged and I was seeing the path that they took. And I realized success leaves clues. So if I can implement and think and act like they do, results should follow on that path. Where on the other end, it's like, you have these ideas. I know you're capable of more, but when you go external with them and kind of talk about it to other people, they don't understand it. And people justify what they don't understand by kind of being scared of it, right? Afraid, acting on thoughts rather than facts and figures, jumping to conclusions. And that way it almost prevents you from acting rather than even just being neutral about it. It almost hurts you. So I agree, surrounding yourself with the company you keep. I want to hear what kind of mindset shifts you went through, how it made it easier making the leap, because the average person doesn't go buy an 8 unit. Kind of walk me through some of the big shifts you had in mindset and what the benefits were of those.
So my mindset before, I was just comfort, right? When making the decision to make the leap down here, I had to really be open. My mindset was like, Jen, this is an amazing opportunity. Definitely take it. Because where I was in New Jersey, I don't think I would have done it, to be honest with you. I wasn't pushed. I didn't have accountability. Nobody was holding my feet to the fire. Here, having that has been everything. It has hold my feet to the fire. Okay, Jen, did you do that LOI? Did you underwrite this deal? And just having that mindset to be like, yeah, you can do it because you have the support system. You have the Jake and Gino community behind you to push you and encourage you and to really just take your investing career to the next level.
So Jen, give me a couple of things that people said to you that you're moving. Yes. Friends, family.
You are absolutely crazy. The first time I told my parents that I wanted to invest in real estate, they just said, I don't get it. I don't understand why. You have a good job. You have a 401k. Why would you waste your money on rental?
And what else? There must have been so many other things because I can list a few because
everyone was like, where are you moving? You're moving to Tennessee? Why? Are you crazy? You live in the most popular city in the world. Like, why would you leave? Because it's too expensive to live here, right? When I looked for an apartment in Tennessee, I was like, wait, how much is it? And I get all of that. It was incredible. Just the value from coming from the New York area down here. It was a no-brainer for me. And I said, you may think I'm crazy, but I'm going to do it anyway because I want to take this opportunity.
And how did things shift when you started getting results? They see you get an 8-unit, it starts becoming real. You're manifesting those thoughts into reality. What changed from your friends and your family's perception from there?
I have more confidence, to be honest with you. I used to lack that at a much younger age. And as I have gotten to know the subject matter better and going through the Jake and Gino curriculum and reading a ton of books, my confidence level in talking about this has grown exponentially. I am way more comfortable talking to people about this at like the boot camps, at the money mixers, and even at MM3. My confidence level is just through the roof now.
Education times action equals results. You can take massive action like I did in the beginning and not get the results. I think the education, and then you start getting those little results, all of a sudden your confidence does go through the roof. And then the next step is great. Well, you have more confidence. You continue to call those brokers and continue to make the LOIs and continue to get on those calls. So that's really important. Jennifer, could you give the listeners maybe a couple of steps for them to take to get into their first multifamily? I know the education piece is important, but what else did you do to get into multifamily?
Podcast. I tried to listen to anything I can get my hands on. I read a ton of books. I spent just a year getting educated. So just be patient. Get the education you need to make informed decisions. That was I spent a year just getting educated before I took action.
And what else did you do?
I joined the Jake and Gino community. I reached out to you. I went to your event and we started working together, and I attended the boot camps and the money mixers and MM2. It just was getting a community behind me to encourage me was like the best.
So let's talk about the event space real quick because it's important. I always tell students they should be going to at least one event a year, if not more. What's the value in going to events in your perspective?
Well, I've had many, many years of doing event planning. So from talking to people, just the networking alone is worth going, right? Yes, you're going to get the education from the speakers, and you're going to get big name speakers and take all that in. But actually hearing from people in the space doing it made my confidence even more. Like, there's other women in the space who were investing. And I was like, wow, this is a guy's game. And more women are getting into it now, and meeting them at the events has been amazing.
Mm-hmm. So what are your next steps in multifamily? What are you looking to do to grow your portfolio?
Well, now I got an 8-unit, I got to get something bigger, right?
That's
How many
right.
classes next?
So what is your criteria? Like, what markets are you looking at? I mean, your deals, what are you looking for in your deals?
So I'm looking for value adds. Jake, you teach, look for an undervalued asset where you can add value. So I'm looking for something in a 20-unit range where I could increase the NOI on the property and really improve the appreciation so I could drive up the NOI.
Mm-hmm. So if you're out there, do you have any tips on partnering with people? Have you thought of partnering with somebody and going bigger?
Absolutely. My friend and I from home have we would love to partner on a deal. It's just underwriting those deals to find that one that will make sense.
So any tips on partnering for you? Have you learned anything through the Jake and Gino community from seeing students partner, from seeing Jake and myself working together?
I have a lot of strengths, but I also have a lot of weaknesses, right? My partner could complement where I'm weak. That person could be strong. So definitely you guys can divide and conquer and hit a lot more territory in a short amount of time.
Josh, do you have any weaknesses, Josh?
I'm good at the relationships. The long game once in a while can be the tough one for me. You know, it's I like the ooh shinies get me every once in a while.
So then how would you do that, Josh? I mean, we do disc profiles. What would you say to the listeners about diagnosing their strengths and their weaknesses? And maybe not just strengths and weaknesses, maybe about things that they'd like to do and don't like to do.
So I think it comes down to, first, are you compatible with the person, right? Do you get along? Do you like spending time with them? Because like we've talked about before, this is a relationship. It's almost like a marriage, right? A business partnership. And then from there, you look at complementary strengths and weaknesses, right? What are you good at and what can you bring to the table that maybe they can't? And what can they fix that you don't have? And then you also look at it more of like, okay, maybe I'm young. I'm not financially where I want to be at. And I'm going to put in a lot of the sweat equity. I'm going to get educated and I'm going to add value to someone that has the balance sheet, but not leverage as much as their time. And Gino, I think you have a saying about that. A man with money meets a man with time, or how's that one go?
A person with money meets a person with experience. The person with the experience gets the money, and the person with the money gets the experience. Very simple. You can have all the money in the world, but if you're not educated and you meet somebody who's educated, you better make sure that you know what you're doing. Josh, I just like to simply say, I call it the sniff test. If you don't like somebody, it doesn't matter what kind of skills are. It doesn't matter if they're the rock star in the world. You're not going to like working with them. Sooner or later, something happens. That relationship's going to sour quick. So I think ultimately you need to like to work with somebody. You need to know about the culture. You need to know about their core values. You need to know about their value-based decision-making. All that really is important when you're looking for a partner. That's what I think is important. So Jennifer, what's your best advice for anybody trying to get into their first multifamily? I mean, other than, the education and accountability, what else do you think is really important for people? Is it mindset? Is it just going out of your network? What else would you say about getting into multifamily?
I mean, my colleagues at my old job told me I was the most patient person. So patience, right? Everybody wants instant gratification. This is a long-term game. It's not going to happen overnight. You got to put the work in and just be patient. It'll happen. Just don't get discouraged.
That's important because every occupation, if you think of, is a long-term game. I'm sure your job was long-term. I'm sure you didn't start with 6 figures, right? And we forget about that because multifamily is a business, and to build a business, it takes a long time. So I love that answer. Let's take a quick break to hear from our sponsors.
Gino, I know a lot of our listeners are wanting to take their multifamily investing business to the next level. I know that you've been hard at work helping Jake and Gino students do just that using our framework. Can you explain to the listeners how they can get our help?
Guys, we've been hard at work growing our community of like-minded investors, and the results of our members has been nothing short of incredible. We're looking to grow this amazing group. What we're looking for is those who want to follow our proprietary framework that we've created. Buy right, manage right, and finance right. Leverage our connections, education, and mentorship as ways to take your business to the next level.
So if you're interested in finding out more about how you can become a part of our amazing community, apply to work with us at jakeandgino.com/apply.
All right, Jen, I got some short answer questions here for you. So what's your favorite book you've read and why?
So I love Deep Work by Cal Newport. So I read The Miracle Morning and started implementing savers in my life. And then I read Deep Work, and Deep Work took my Miracle Morning to the next level. So every morning I spend from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. really focusing on one task. And I really get into deep work and move the needle on my personal projects.
Like it. What about your best habit for success?
So really being focused. So I spend a lot of time here, make sure we're focused on a priority. So just staying focused and staying in your lane is really helped propel my business.
Jen, is your cell phone on right now?
Nope.
Okay, good. That's good focus.
Love that. You know, there's been a lot of golden nuggets in this episode. I want to recap a few, and I know Gino's going to add a few more. The first one's get the help, seek to serve, pay to play. Those are the two main ways to add value to those that are further along the path than you. The next one is complacency is the kiss of death. You know, it's being content with where you're at. Although you're not where you want to be, there's not enough dissatisfaction to take it to the next level. And it leads to being average and mediocrity. The next one I saw was the company you keep, right? Who you surround yourself with will show me your friends, and I'll show you your future and tell you who you are. There's a lot of truth to that. And knowledge breeds confidence. It's definitely having that information leads to the confidence to take action, get the implementation, and then eventually results. Gino, what takeaways do you have to add to that as well?
Well, Josh, I think this podcast is all about the listener and where they are in their life. If you're comfortable in your life, that may be a good thing, but that may also be a bad thing, because if you're not growing in life, you're dying, right? Let me say that again. If you're not growing in life, you're dying. And that may be spiritually, that may be fiscally, that may be just personal development wise. And that's what I was going through. And it sounds as if that's what Jen was going through. She was comfortable, but she wasn't being fulfilled. You know, Tony Robbins talks about the 6 human needs. The first 4 are just regular fundamental. The 5 and 6 are really the fulfilling ones, where you're growing and you're contributing also. So I think Jennifer has been doing an amazing job contributing to the Jake and Gino team, which is really important, but also now she's contributing to other people's lives. She has tenants and she has residents, and she's contributing to their lives. And that's a great feeling. And if you can figure out how to monetize that on top of contributing to their lives, that's the coup d'etat. That's the best. I like the fact that she says it's important to surround yourself with like-minded people and people who are going to push you. And that's something that really propelled my life. Once I partnered with Jake and then Mike, and then we created the Jake and Gino community, and I have all the students, and I had Josh and everybody, that really propelled my life. You know, watch out who you're hanging out with, because they can take you down. And not only because of that, they can also hold you back. And they're not doing that in a bad way. They're trying to protect you. So if Jen comes to me and says, I'm moving to Tennessee tomorrow, like, are you crazy? I mean, I would expect it, right? Because I've been hanging out with her for the last 20 years, and that might be a shock. And I'm just trying to protect her. I don't want her to get hurt. But I think everyone's got to take a look at the inventory of who they're hanging out with. And if it's not where you want to be in life, take a reassessment, find out where you want to go, and just go out there and find out who it is that you want to hang out with and who you want to emulate. Because as Josh likes to say, success leaves clues. So if you want to become successful in multifamily or any other venue, any other space, see who's doing it well and follow them.
Couldn't agree anymore. Jen, how can the listeners get a hold of you?
So you can email me, the Jake and Gino team. So J Ullrich, ULLRICH @jakeandgino.com.
Awesome. Jen, I want to thank you for being an amazing guest on the show and sharing your movers and shakers story. If you want to be the next movers and shakers guest, email me, josh@jakeandgino.com. And until next time, let's make it a movers and shakers week. See you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.